Are you ready? Oh, I'm ready. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Are you ready?
Let's do
Let's
this.
do this thing, man.
The League Podcast.
Yeah.
How's it going, everybody? Got Dylan and Jay here with the League Podcast. What's up, Jay? How's
Hey,
it going?
brother. Good, man. Good. I'm excited to be back here. We've had to take a little bit of a break. It's been some crazy time in Dylan and I's lives. But we're back, baby, and I'm excited, ready to rock.
We're back and ready to rock and roll. Today we got a couple things to cover. We got injuries. Just kind of dig a little in there. Talk about some injuries that are gonna, be pretty crucial to your fantasy. And then also we are gonna be talking waiver wire pickups. I mean, it's week 8 now. It's pretty thin. We'll give you what we got.
All right. Well, on the waiver wire, who do we want to start with? I mean, I know I got somebody. His name's Marlon Mack. I think a lot of people already own him.
Absolutely, but you know what? I'm gonna talk about some injuries real quick.
Oh,
and then
sorry.
we'll jump into the.
I cut out, so I lost everything. I lost all contact there, so I didn't know where you were.
No worries. We'll talk about injuries real quick. Carson Palmer, 8 weeks, or they're saying 4 to 6 weeks, but I heard it's about 8 weeks. Broken arm. Cardinals, goodbye. Everyone on that team is done. No more Larry. No more AP, AD, AP, whatever you want to call him. He's nothing. Rams shut him down, 33-0, shutout for my boys. Anyways,
that's scary.
If you have a Cardinal, if you have Larry, try to trade him on a name value. Adrian Peterson, I mean, try to get something for him, but I doubt you're going to get anything. He has one good game this year. He'll probably still get you a couple decent games if he scores touchdowns, but anyway.
Well, who's starting for them now?
They're saying Drew Stanton. Bruce Arians swears on Drew Stanton, saying he's the guy, but he looked bad. He looked really bad.
He's never looked good.
No, never.
I mean, obviously their running game is in shambles. Luckily, they got APAD, and I think that they're going to have to rely on him so much. They're going to try to, and everyone's going to stack the box. Yeah, and then, like you said, hasta la vista, Cardinals.
Hasta la vista. But, yeah, John Brown, drop him. Jaron Brown, drop him. You should have dropped him a couple weeks ago.
The Browns.
Yeah, well, no. The Browns. The Cardinals defense, I mean, they're going to be on the field majority of the time, and it's just going to tire them out, and they're going to just get scored on. Bad field position for them. I mean, drop all your Cardinals or try trading them while you can. Once David Johnson gets back, it makes me a little nervous because I have David Johnson. I've been holding on to him all year. I'm nervous. I'm nervous about even what's going to happen if they even bring him back. What if they just lose the rest of their games? Are they going to bring him back or probably not? But anyways, let's move on. Jay Cutler, cracked ribs. It's said to be 2 to 3 weeks that he's out. I like Matt Moore. You look
UCLA, baby.
You look at the film for both of them, and you don't see much of a difference. But what you do see is I mean, Jay Cutler was doing all right. He won some games this year, but Matt Moore gets in there and comes back and wins the game. Someone on my waiver wire is Kenny Stills, and him and Matt Moore have that connection. They have that connection. So we'll talk about that a little bit later, but Jay Cutler hurt 2 to 3 weeks. Who knows? He might lose his starting job to Matt Moore if Matt Moore comes in and wins some games. A couple more injuries. Delaney Walker, he hurt his ankle. It was said to be pretty bad, and he was on crutches after the game. So they have a bye week, so it gives him a little bit of time to rest his ankle up. So we'll see next week once he comes back and if he's going to practice or not. Another one was CJ Prosise. He was supposed to come back a couple weeks ago, and he didn't make it back. And then, he would practice all week, and then they called him, he was out. And then this week, same thing. He practiced all week in full. He played one play and re-aggravated his ankle injury. So that guy he's got so much potential, but he just cannot get on the field. So it's just that whole Seahawks backfield, that Seahawks line. I mean, I don't like any of them. I really don't. I mean, Eddie Lacy got carries. Thomas Rawls got carries. J.D. McKissick got carries. I mean, I don't know if you saw
too. They had a huge offensive fight on the sideline. I mean, they played great. So, but at the same time, I don't know if that offense is firing and running on all cylinders. So, especially that run game,
exactly,
to say the very least. So,
I mean, Russ will carry him, but You can only do so much.
Backtracking a little bit on Delaney Walker, they got a guy, Tyler Supernaw, that I believe came in, and he scored a touchdown for last game when Delaney came out. So that's someone to keep your eye on if Delaney's out. But another offense that just didn't look like it was firing was the Titans this last weekend. So they did on the Thursday night football game. They played on Thursday, I believe, right? Or was it?
It was Monday.
Monday night football. They look good. Playing against a decent Colts team.
Yeah.
But their defense looked bad. There was a high-scoring game. Mariota was his first game back from that injury, but I still think there's something missing. There's something wrong. They're not firing on all cylinders again on that offense in Tennessee. So that's something to look out for.
Yeah, I just don't think Mariota is 100%. So that obviously hurts him, and him not being mobile. Him not being mobile, it really, like you said, restricts the offense where they know that he's not going to run out of the pocket. So they're going to play a little more conservative, or
which this could realistically even make Marcus Mariota's game better, because he's such a mobile guy that he's forcing himself to actually stay in the pocket and pass the ball in the pocket. So this could develop his pocket pass presence where and then obviously when he gets healthy he can still be mobile. So this could help in the long run, but right now their offense doesn't look that great either. So
no, it doesn't. It doesn't at all. But I'll touch base on a couple more, and then we'll get straight to the waiver wires. This isn't an injury, but Marshawn Lynch is suspended for one game for that little tussle on Thursday Night Football. So in my waiver wire, I have the two other Raider running backs to look out for. And, I mean, it's really based off your personal opinion. And I guess we'll get more into that once we get into waiver. Another one that I feel like is going to kind of screw over some fantasy guys is Dan Bailey, the kicker for the Cowboys. He's been really consistently good for the last couple of years. Top 10 kicker, he's on everyone's fantasy roster. So he hurt his groin. They had their safety kick in on Sunday. I doubt that's going to happen. They're probably going to pick someone up, but it still kind of sucks for, the Cowboys and their consistent kicker and Dan Bailey. So that's something to look out for too. If you have them, obviously you're not going to hold them on your roster. You don't want to hold two kickers. So just drop them and just stay with us for more updates. If you haven't already, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, at The League Podcast, and then on Twitter at The League Pod. Once again, at The League Podcast for Facebook and Instagram, and at The League Pod. Anyways, let's get straight to waiver wires, Jay. Yeah. Why don't you go ahead and start us off with Marlon Mack like you were talking about earlier? He's not even on mine because
he's probably owned. He's owned in 41% of leagues. So surprising, he's not owned in more leagues because he's one. I mean, not only injury but game away from taking that job. I mean, I feel like he's the most elite running back in that backfield right now. Their offense though has nothing really to show for. I mean, with Jacoby Brissett, it's just not the same offensive team. I mean, it really hurts to not have Andrew Luck out there. It's showing now, halfway through the season. So Marlon Mack is someone to have on your bench, but I'm not saying, you can actually play him quite yet because he only touched the ball like 4 times. I mean, carried the ball 4 times. I think he had 3 or 4 receptions. He had 10.6 points to finish the game, which is good. I mean, that's playable in a flex position.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's someone definitely to stash, I think, Marlon Mack.
Him and Frank Gore are definitely splitting it up. I mean,
and
with Robert Turbin,
Turbin got injured, so this could open things up quite a bit as well.
Absolutely. So. And, Brissett hasn't done too bad. He's making do with what he has, but that offensive line is not good. I mean, they are not giving him any time. And, I mean, thank God he has some legs to run with, but – I don't know, man. Well, I'm staying away from the Colts offense.
Their defense has been playing. I mean, they've been playing some great defenses as well. So it's tough to knock them when they're playing.
No, exactly.
Tough teams. But.
And I mean, Brissett came a week before the season started, or the week of the first game of the year. So I mean, he's making do with what he can. So I really like Brissett.
But 0 points, Dylan? 0 points? I mean, is that –
Brissett got 0 points?
No, the Colts offense.
Oh, yeah,
they didn't score. I mean, that's pretty pathetic. They couldn't even score. They had the opportunity to score a field goal at the very end, but they didn't. They wanted to score a touchdown. I get it. But still, I would have taken the field goal at the very end over a
But when you're playing the Jags defense, who is the best defense in the league in my opinion right now.
Yeah.
I mean, when you don't have an offensive line that this defense leads the league in sacks. They had 10 sacks. I mean, how are you supposed to get anything going when you're starting 2nd and 20, 3rd and 15, 3rd and 25? You know, it's like and then it's hard. It's
on top of that, you have Jalen Ramsey shadowing T.Y. Hilton the whole entire game. You can't do anything about that. And then, of course, you know, Bowie's not easy to amend with, but it's not like Moncrief has been superstar this year anyway. So Jack Doyle is the only person that I see as in like getting that consistency from.
But he is consistently inconsistent.
He's consistent, exactly. He is. You look at how many drop balls he has and just dumb plays he makes. But Jacoby does look his way. He does get a lot of targets at the very least.
He does. I mean, that's his little safe goat. So I mean, if you're starting any of the Colts, I mean, I'm really only going to start like Frank Gore as a flex or Marlon Mack as a flex. I mean, you're hoping for a touchdown, hoping for a few catches. But like you said, keep Marlon Mack on your bench. And who knows, Andrew Luck can come back. I mean, he had a setback, so you don't know what's going to happen with him. But if he does come back, he's one of those star quarterbacks that can just change everything for a team. So
instantly. One game away. You know?
Yeah, so I mean, you just got to kind of keep tabs on that. And if Andrew Luck is deemed to come back, this is a time where you go for, you know, T.Y. Hilton or, you know, one of those Colts and just hold on to him for a couple weeks or, you know, depends on when he comes back. But if Andrew Luck's in the lineup, T.Y. Hilton's a top 5 receiver. You know, he shows to do it every single time. So even Dante Moncrief, you know, he's a top 15, top 20 receiver. So that's something to look into throughout this, you know, next few weeks to a month or whatever it is, because you never know. You never know with Andrew Luck. I've heard he's going to be out for the whole year. I've heard he's coming back in a month. So
we'll see.
Anyways, my number one waiver wire pickup this week, and I actually have him on my team, and he's just been getting more and more opportunity for the past few weeks, and it's Dion Lewis. The Patriots running backs are always super scary to play, but as you've seen in the past, LeGarrette Blount was a top 5 running back last year. Dion Lewis is getting those goal line carries. Now, he's not the biggest back, but he's elusive, and he makes people miss, and he's not scared to put his shoulder down. He can also catch the ball. Like we talked about, you know, I think last week it was 2 years ago, Dion Lewis was a top 5 running back until he got hurt.
Yeah.
And he's starting to look like that Dion Lewis again. And it's pretty exciting, you know.
And it feels like they're getting more comfortable. They're not getting more comfortable. They know what he has to offer, but they've been just holding him so tight on a leash. They've been holding him back. And now it's finally like they're starting to let that leash go and just kind of let Dion do his thing. And you can see he's hungry. He's running with passion. He was running with passion.
He had 14 touches last week or yesterday. And then last week, I think it was 11 touches. The week before that was like 9. So every week it's going up a little bit, and Mike Gillislee's coming down, you know. And then obviously Rex Burkhead, it was made me a little nervous that he came back last night.
He's just staying in the mix, him.
Dude, he only had a few touches. I mean, they're putting him in every so often for a break, you know. But and Mike Gillislee, he got a decent amount of touches at the end of the game, but I think that's because they knew the game was over, so they were just trying to clock it. So Dion Lewis, if he's on the waiver wire, I mean, like I said, it's always tough to start a Patriots running back because you just don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, well, and you didn't even mention James White. They have 4 running backs that play.
I mean,
you know
James
what I mean?
White's I think he's a start every week in the flex. I mean, if you have James White, put him in your flex and start him. He's going to get 5 catches for 50 yards, you know?
It's tough. Like you said, it's uncomfortable to want to start one of them because there's 4 of them that play, you know? Yeah. So
I took him out. I was going to start him last week or this weekend, and I took him out because I was going to start him until Leonard Fournette went down because I had Chris Ivory. And then, of course, you know, I heard everyone saying Ivory. He's going to be a beast. And so I took Dion out and put Ivory in. Granted, Ivory scored 8 points because of a 1-yard touchdown, but he also had a fumble. Dion Lewis, though, I mean, he scored almost 10 points with no touchdown. So either way, it was about the same, and I still won. So that's all that matters. But anyways, if you have Dion Lewis in the waiver, I say pick him up. I say if you need someone, you know, next week, week 8, this week I should say, there's a lot of buys. I think there's 8 teams on a buy or something like that. So you might be hurting for someone, and Dion Lewis is your guy that you can spot start this week.
But be careful. He does have a week 9 bye. So, but if you do, like you said, if you have that this week, put him in, plug and play, and then, you know, use it at your own discretion from there.
I'm holding them. I'm keeping them on my roster. So, anyways, let's move on to our next guy. Who do you got for your next waiver wire pickup, Jake?
Next, I got somebody who I had 2 weeks ago. Dropped him for Jerick McKinnon. And then yesterday, what do you know? Latavius Murray comes back to life. But
yeah,
I kind of expected this. I mean, I knew that they want to get him the ball because he's more of that 3-down back in a sense, and goal line back is where Jerick McKinnon is much more of a pass catching back. Third down back. So I had a feeling this would happen, but Jerick just looked so much more explosive and still does. I mean, I still think Jerick is the back to own, but I definitely think if you have the space, Latavius Murray is a good person to add because, I mean, he's obviously their offensive line is looking great. They're getting it together. They are just being held together with, I don't know, glue and some popsicle sticks at this point, but it's making do because they're winning games by the chin on their hair on their chinny chin and getting the right puzzle pieces in place. I mean, Latavius Murray put up 17.3 points, and he's only owned in 40% of leagues. So he's still out there. You can go grab him, and another guy you can plug and play if you have a guy on a bye week this week, So that's kind of my 2 cents on Latavius Murray. I think him, and I got many other guys, but he's probably one of the other ones that I definitely recommend picking up this week.
No, I agree. I mean, McKinnon has looked phenomenal in the last 2 weeks before this week. I mean, I think it was a great pickup for you, and I would still rather have McKinnon than Murray, but they do want Murray. They signed him to a contract, gave him a decent amount of money, so they want him to be the guy. So, I mean, he had 18 rushes for 113 yards and a touchdown. You can't ask for more in a running back, If they're going to get over 100 yards, I mean, those are the type of guys that you're talking about every week. And if Latavius Murray can do it, then, I mean, they're going to keep feeding him the ball. And
it's all going to be up to game flow, right? So,
yeah. And they want to run it. They want to run it.
They want to run, exactly. And they were
Keenum at quarterback.
They had the possession, and they were up, so I felt like they were comfortable running the ball with Latavius Murray, as where Jerick McKinnon, they have to use him when they're in the game and they're playing, maybe not from behind, but still right there, So it's going to be interesting seeing which back really takes over moving forward. I really still think Jerick McKinnon is that back to own in these leagues. Like I said, only 40% owned. So I'm going to jump to the next guy that I have. Well, first off, Dylan and I have been back and forth talking about how much Martavis Bryant has just fallen off a cliff, basically. I mean, he is not fantasy relevant. He's not fitting in the Steelers organization. So, and look at Juju Smith-Schuster is scoring touchdowns. I think he's a great ad, and I think that's somebody that you're going to need to get. Juju Smith-Schuster got 11.9 points, and he's only owned in 14% of leagues. So, and like Dylan and I, like I said, we were talking, is Martavis Bryant. He's just not gluing with that team. He's
on his way out, man.
He called in sick today for team meetings, and there's speculation again saying, Martavis Bryant is looking for a way out, and I believe it. I think he's unhappy. I think he's so full of himself. I think that he's a me guy. And he's bummed because he sees other people succeeding all around him. And even though he's on a championship caliber team and he doesn't want to learn and grow with them, instead he's trying to find a way out. He's like a AKA Kyrie Irving, sounds like.
No, seriously though.
But,
I mean,
so that's why Smith? I think Juju Smith is a great ad. He's only owned in 14% of leagues, so he's out there. Go grab him.
And I mean, he's a good player. I mean, he was a great player at USC. I do not like USC whatsoever, but 2 years ago, he was a beast. And then last year, he didn't have the best year, but he's a good receiver. He's actually the youngest player in the NFL. So he's got tons of potential.
Did he just turn 21 or just turn 20?
I
one of the two.
Tell you, but he's. I read today he's the youngest player in the entire league. So he's a young buck. And he's
how
still
about that
playing –
peekaboo celebration too.
It was great. It was amazing. It was amazing. Awesome. You didn't see Martavius out there, that's for sure. But yeah, I mean, Martavis Bryant, he has all the talent in the freaking world. But like you said, he's selfish and all about himself. But I mean, if they do trade him, imagine him going to like the Chiefs or like the Bills or one of those teams that are really wide receiver needy that
As soon as he gets traded, he's going to make a splash, and he's going to be fantasy relevant. But in this high-powered Steelers offense, he's getting the cold shoulder. I mean, they're looking at him a couple times a game, and it's not like the old Martavis Bryant where they were looking to get him the ball deep plenty times a game, you know? So look who got it deep, Juju. The guy who talked down on said that he sucks, that he's not as good as him, yada, yada. So.
Well, last year, or I think it was beginning of this year, he was talking smack on Sammy Coates. It's like, dude, why do you talk about your teammates? I don't want someone on my team like that. I mean, if he's not getting traded, I want to get traded because I don't want to be a part of an organization that's going to let their players talk down to other players. Yeah, he's got all the talent in the world, but they got plenty of talent on that offense, and obviously feeding – Le'Veon Bell 35 times a game. Their main focus is running the ball. It's not passing anymore.
Yes. So, I love hearing that. The sound of that just makes me so happy.
So, yeah, I mean, Juju, go get him. If you don't have him, he's going to be one of the – I mean, that's, like you said, a high-powered offense. They're gonna pass the ball throughout this year, and they're going to, with Antonio Brown being the best receiver in the league, they like to double him, which leaves that other second, third receiver – one-on-one coverage. And, if you're a pretty good player like Juju he's going to get open. He's going to make plays. So go get him. Another player, like we kind of mentioned earlier, that I just want to touch base real quick on, Kenny Stills. He is very up and down. You really don't know what you're going to get when you play him. And we talked about this. You thought the same thing as me, is you were really close to picking him up and playing him over the weekend because you have Devontae Parker.
I can't believe I did. I mean, I think it is so dumb if you have a Devontae Parker not to pick up Kenny Stills and play him.
You had no one to drop.
I would have had to drop Devontae Parker, which I just couldn't wrap my head around doing, which after the game, I was like, why wouldn't I do that? Almost 30 points. I mean, that would have won me
That's what you needed.
Would have won me my week easily, but that unfortunately sucks. But I love how you brought up the Matt Moore, Kenny Stills connection, because they practiced together all offseason. I mean, that was his quarterback, Kenny Stills. So they have that connection, and you saw what they did the second half of that game when Matt Moore came in.
Well, last year when Ryan Tannehill got hurt and Matt Moore was a quarterback, he had 6 touchdowns in the last 8 games. 6 touchdowns in the last 8 games, and I mean, it showed yesterday he had 2 touchdowns. So Kenny Stills is a touchdown scoring machine. This guy can catch the ball. He's a deep threat too. I mean, I think Kenny Stills needs to be rostered in everyone's league. I mean, even when Devontae Parker gets back, it'll probably take away a little bit, but
Stills Matt Moore loves Stills. He's going to look at him,
He does. He's going to be his first look besides Jarvis Landry, of course, on that short little route. But if he's going deep to Kenny Stills. And I mean, when Devontae Parker comes back, I still think he's going to be the number one guy. And, I mean, the number one corner is going to be playing Devontae Parker. So, Kenny Stills against the number 2 corner, there's a lot of hope there. There's a lot of potential there. So, I like Kenny Stills. I know you like Kenny Stills. He's one of those guys that I think needs to be owned in every single league, especially when Devontae Parker is still out. I mean, you said he's going to practice this week, so
maybe he's testing out his ankle on Tuesday, which is tomorrow. So we'll see where that goes. And like you said, Kenny Stills belongs on your roster.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm moving on. Unless you want to say anything else.
Not at all.
Cool, man. I'm going to jump on 2 guys, DeAndre Washington, Jalen Richard, the 2 running backs for the Raiders. This is like a yin and yang. You don't know who to really pick up. It's really – I mean, what I've really been researching and stuff, a lot of people are saying Jalen Richard for PPR and DeAndre Washington for standard. You saw DeAndre Washington get the carries on the goal line last week and score a touchdown, and you saw Jalen Richard get 4 receptions for 45 yards. So they both scored around the same amount of points. Last year, actually, I picked up DeAndre Washington, and then someone else picked up Jalen Richard, and I was kind of bummed that I didn't get Jalen Richard. But watching the Raiders play on Thursday, DeAndre Washington, he is a hard runner. He runs so hard. But Jalen Richard, I mean, he's athletic, and I mean, he makes people miss, and he's a great pass catcher. So, oh, man, I think if I'm picking up one of them this week, I think I'm going DeAndre Washington over Jalen Richard just for the hopes of those goal line carries. I think the Raiders are back on track, and I think that Derek Carr's back on track, and he's going to start, start firing away, and I think they're going to start winning more games. So they're going to be more running towards the end of the game, and I don't know. They do like to throw it in the red zone as well to Michael Crabtree because that's what he's best at. So I mean, I say DeAndre Washington, but at the same time, I'm just as high on Jalen Richard. It's one of those things where, I don't even know who I want. I'm just going to put in waivers for both of them and hope for the best.
Yeah, well, I'm going to let you leave that up to you because I'm staying away from them.
I am too. I am too. I mean, I got so many running backs on my team already, especially guys just sitting there waiting, like Matt Breida, for instance. I'm sitting here waiting for Carlos Hyde to get traded so that I can unleash Matt Breida.
Well, even so, Joe Thomas out for a year, that takes a huge hit. Or is he out for a year?
No, Joe Thomas is on the Browns.
I mean, sorry. Yeah.
I'm talking about
kidding.
49ers.
Wait. Did Joe Thomas – he used to be – no, sorry. Just kidding.
Yeah, no. Anyways, that's my take on DeAndre Washington, Jalen Richard. If you need a running back, they're gonna get touches. They're gonna play this week. Lot of bye weeks. That's the main thing. There's a lot of bye weeks this week. So if you're on one of those bye weeks and you don't have a running back, go after one of these guys. And I think they'll
Definitely.
eat. I mean, last week they both got 12 or 13 points.
They both got 10-plus points, which is
exactly.
If you need a guy, if you are hurting at running back bye week, throw him in the flex or the RB2 position, and you got to just hope for the best. Marshawn Lynch is out this week, so this is the time to play one of those two running backs.
I agree.
Well, I got somebody next that he's borderline. He's only 2% owned in leagues. Okay, so he's not some guy that you're going to be chasing after. But mind you, he had a pretty decent week. He was just signed last week to the Buffalo Bills. His name's Deontay Thompson. He had 4 targets for 107 yards, 14.7 points. I think with that offense, they're looking for people that are down the field threats. They've been trying to find this guy that can take the top off. I think they might have tried to find him. I'm not saying that he's going to get crazy amount of touches every week, but he could take the top off a defense like he did this last week and make something happen. So that could be somebody. If you have somebody on a bye week, I actually don't know if the Bills are on a bye or not this week. I hope not.
No, they're not. They just had their bye week, so they actually play the Raiders this week. So
and that could be a pretty decent matchup against that Raiders D to plug and play Deontay Thompson on that Buffalo Bills team. Like I said, 2% owned, so that's somebody you can grab out there on the waiver wire.
And I agree. He's on my list as well. He had, like you said, 4 catches for 107 yards. The only thing that kind of scares me, I mean, I guess I don't know if this scares me or this makes me interested, is he was only on the field for 31% of the plays.
Yeah.
You have Jordan Matthews and Zay Jones, who are both on the field for 81% of the snaps. So, they're out there more, but they both only had 2 receptions. And Jordan Matthews is still nursing a broken finger or something like that, broken thumb. And Zay Jones led the team with 9 targets, and he couldn't make anything of it. This guy's been very disappointing all year. I mean, he was supposed to be their guy. They traded away Sammy Watkins. They're like, Zay Jones. And I liked him in college. He was a beast. The Rams actually traded the Bills in the draft, and the Bills traded up. The Rams went back, and the Bills took Zay Jones. And I was actually bummed because I really wanted the Rams to get him, but the Rams ended up coming around and picking up Cooper Kupp later on. So I was pretty stoked about that.
That's your boy.
He scored a touchdown. If he's on your waiver wire, pick him up too. Except, be aware the Rams are on a bye week this week. So, anyways, I like Deontay Thompson a lot, actually. Even when he was on the Bears, he has big play ability.
Ability, exactly.
So, I mean, I like it. If you need if you want to take a flyer on someone and you need a receiver, I mean, I say maybe wait one more week and check him out, or pick him up before he does break out again and be their number one receiver. I do like Jordan Matthews, though. Jordan Matthews tends to be able to get open. So
still, he's coming off finger surgery. He got surgery, and he's coming back. It was way earlier than anyone expected. He's wearing like a half little cast type thing on his hand. I mean, he's out there, but I don't know how effective he's going to be, And then like you said, Zay Jones is being ineffective in himself as well. This could really open up the door for Deontay Thompson to make those big shots.
Yeah, they're looking for someone to do it because Tyrod Taylor can't do it all. LaShawn McCoy can't do it all. Charles Clay is hurt, You saw 2 tight ends. Logan Thomas, he was a quarterback for Virginia Tech.
Yeah, I got his first touchdown of his NFL career.
Yeah, man, and he's playing tight end now. And, I mean, he might be a sleeper. He's athletic. He's a good player. I mean, but Nick O'Leary also performed. So the Bills, their offense is kind of scary, honestly. But they have good matchups. They have, the next few games are really good matchups, especially for the passing game. So I like it. I like Deontay Thompson. He's on my list as well. So
who's next for you?
I want to talk about another receiver he's a pretty big sleeper as well. I mean, it's a hit or miss. His name's DeMarcus Robinson for the Kansas City Chiefs. This guy, he obviously Albert Wilson's out for the year, Chris Conlon's out for the year, so they need someone to step up. And this guy actually in preseason had a 3-reception, 121-yard game with a touchdown. So they know he can play. And he comes in his first week, I think he came in because of the injuries occurred. I think he had 1 reception for like 8 yards. And then last week he had 5 receptions on 8 targets for 69 yards. So this guy, I mean, Alex Smith looks amazing. He looks absolutely amazing. And they're running the ball phenomenal. I mean, Kareem Hunt is a beast. And so it's opening up the pass game so much that, Tyreek Hill, he has his injury problems as well. And I mean,
but still he's flourishing weekly.
Oh, absolutely. 25 points, I think, or 26 points this week. But they need that other guy. I mean, Travis Kelce obviously is their main go-to guy.
But defenses focus in on Kelce and
absolutely,
they really try and shut him down to where they need, like you're saying, that next guy up, which is Connolly, which is Wilson, and they're dropping like flies. So to be able to have somebody like this step up, that's huge.
I agree. So I mean, DeMarcus Robinson, I actually might go for him in our waiver wire this week because I mean I got 3 receivers on my team. They're all pretty solid: Keenan Allen, Pierre Garçon, and Des Bryant. But I kind of want to get another guy just to play on a different weekly basis. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Anyways,
I like it.
That's my guy, DeMarcus Robinson.
So I'm jumping over now to actual tight end. This tight end I have had my eyes on since the day he got drafted. This is Mr. O.J. Howard. I don't think we need much discussion about that. I know there's Cameron Brate in that offense as well, but O.J. Howard's potential is just through the roof. He didn't get picked in the top 15 picks for no reason. He was supposed to get taken higher. He fell in that draft. I was surprised he fell to, was it 13 or so when he got drafted?
I don't remember, but you're right. He fell and he shouldn't have. I mean, tight end is a tough position to transition to in the NFL, but Evan Ingram, as you've seen, has been – I mean, to me, that guy's a top 3 tight end to me. I mean, the only people
he's a top 5 tight end to me. Yeah,
absolutely. The only people I want over him is Zach Ertz and Rob Gronkowski. Other than that, I want Evan Ingram on my team. But anyways, let's talk about O.J. Howard, like you were saying.
I just think that, I mean, I don't know if it was the Buffalo Bills that they just decided not to guard him or like what happened over the weekend. But
because he hasn't done anything all year.
He scored 27.3 points, and he's still owned in 12% of fantasy leagues. He's out on those waiver wires. I think you should grab him. Jameis Winston is a young quarterback who loves his tight ends. Yes, he has Mike Evans and Deshaun Jackson, but his tight ends are his go-to guys, and O.J. Howard
especially in the red zone.
In the red zone, he's getting open. Halfway down the field, he's getting open. O.J. Howard is looking poised, and I think it's somebody that you could pick up and actually now start starting, in my opinion, with some – matchups coming up.
I agree. And you know what? I actually wanted – because I have ASJ, Austin Seferian-Jenkins, and he's scary, man. He's been pretty consistent for the last – since he got back.
McCown's looking good too. I mean, it's weird.
But he's spreading the ball around. So it just – and I think that maybe the Jets might have – or not Jets. The Dolphins might have game planned to kind of cover him more so because they didn't look for him. He wasn't very open. And the second tight end was actually playing a lot because he's a great blocker. But anyways – I went to look for O.J. Howard to maybe pick up for the waivers, and someone already has him in our league. They've held on him all year, Bo. So thanks, man. Thanks for nothing.
Well, he's got some really favorable matchups. I mean, Carolina this week coming up, Carolina's defenses look shaky at best. New Orleans, who's given up tons of points, week 9. New York Jets, week 10, and Miami, week 11. I mean, they've got – and then even more – but they've got some really favorable matchups coming up that for the tight end that I think he can flourish from. So
yeah, no, absolutely. And I mean, I think – we're pretty much done. We should get it wrapped up. There's a couple guys that I just want to throw the names out there. So once they do start producing.
What's that called? Honorable mention, I believe.
Yeah. Kenny Golladay.
Okay.
Golden Tape's supposed to be hurt, so he's probably going to get more opportunities. He showed that he can make some plays, but he hasn't done much since week 1. And then also Josh Stockton.
I like that.
We'll see what he can do. The head coach, I can't remember, Jay Gruden said he wants to get him a lot more involved, and he was a first-round pick. He went to TCU and was just he was a beast. He was kind of, he reminds me of Devontae Parker a lot, actually. get those, those deep passes, 50-50 balls. I mean, I like Josh Doxson as well. And then one more person, Tyler Kroft, the tight end for the Bengals. Tyler Effort's out for the year. Since he's been out, Tyler Kroft has been producing. I mean, he only had 28 yards, but he had 4 receptions and a touchdown in the game. That's someone else that, you can go to if you need a tight end. So those are my guys that, just keep an eye on. If you have the roster spot, pick them up. Might as well see what they do next week. And if they don't produce, drop them, pick up someone else. If they do, then you beat everyone to the punch.
Absolutely, man. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure. I'm so back to get in the mix, man. And please, if you're not following us yet, follow us at theleague.podcast on Facebook and on Instagram, and at theleaguepod on Twitter. We have a YouTube channel. Follow us, subscribe to us on YouTube. We're posting all of our videos on there, and we'll put all the links on our bios and all of our social media. So thanks for the love, Dylan. Love doing this. I'm so excited to be back in the mix, and we'll be back shortly too. Dylan, when are we hitting these guys next with some hot info?
Yeah, so tomorrow we'll be posting this later on today, and then tomorrow we'll be doing another one. Late afternoon we'll be posting for the first half of our games this weekend, and then the following day we'll do the last half of these games. And then also, we want to give you guys real quick, I think we should give them some up-to-date news. Zeke, he is playing this week 8. The judge dismissed. The NFL tried getting it earlier than Sunday, but it's actually going to be on Monday. So Zeke will play this week. So keep him in your lineup. Alfred Morris, Darren McFadden, if you have a roster space, pick them up. I mean, you don't know what's going to happen. Zeke could be suspended for 6 weeks. So if you have one of these guys, I mean, their team hasn't been the same. Their line hasn't been the same, I should say. So it's not like they're going to be amazing, but it's still nice to have, or even someone to trade with someone that has Zeke. And Dwayne Brown ends his holdout. I know that's good for you. You got Deshaun Watson and DeAndre Hopkins, and I've got Lamar Miller.
Good for you too.
Exactly. Good. I'm excited. But
and Texans coming off a bye week, that team should be firing on all cylinders here.
No, absolutely. So thanks, guys, for tuning in. Like Jay said, follow us on social media, YouTube. What's up, Jay?
One last question. We got a Monday Night Football on tonight. What's your pick for tonight's game? We got Eagles versus Redskins. Who do you got? We got the Redskins traveling to Philly to play a young, mean Carson Wentz and a nasty-looking Philadelphia team who sits 5-1 against the 3-2 Washington Redskins. What happens? Who's your pick?
I got Eagles 34-31. Let's go, Carson Wentz. I believe in him.
All right.
High-scoring game.
I like that too. I'm going Eagles as well. I think that they're not going to let them come into their house and take a W from them.
But if you have Captain Kirk, start him because he is going to go off as usual. Captain Kirk is the guy. He started off a little slow this year, but he has picked it up, and he is the guy. Who is he working with? Terrell Pryor, who's that? Jamison Crowder, who's that? They haven't done anything all year. That's what I'm saying. Pick up Josh Doxson.
Yep, Josh Doxson's a great person to add. He's scored in the last 2 games. I mean, I know he's not getting tons of looks, but he's getting those.
Just wait tonight. I'm saying tonight he's going off. If you have a chance to pick him up before the game, do it because he's going to be a hot commodity on the waiver wire after this game.
I hear that
out there.
All right, Eagles. I'm going Eagles tonight as well.
Eagles 34-31. All right,
man. We'll talk to you guys later. Have a good one.
Take care.
Bye.
What did I do? What did I do? The league, huh?